I'm always amazed no one's done the other code yet. That's surprised me.
That is
still
it's right there. It's right there. All good stories start at the beginning.
But I think my question, Chris, is why don't we just do things normally? Why don't we just let people buy stuff?
Maybe there's stuff hidden in GTA 6. And then you'd mentioned about Sean being part of the team. Something's not finished until there's nothing left that you can take away.
On YouTube, we are back. It's been a while. Okay, it's been quite a while. However, I just felt like I had nothing really to talk to you. I had nothing to talk about. However, now I've got a couple of things. So here's a bit of a longer video to encompass both of those. The first thing I want to talk about is Sean. How, why, what took so long? Secondly, we get a rare glimpse and a chat with Chris Doughty from Enigma, where we talk about how Enigma started in the first place, talk about the Pomulo Enigma collab, what the future is for Enigma as a solo project, how we made the riddles, why we made the riddles, and just generally geek out. So if you're as geeky as I am, stay tuned. You'll enjoy this one. At this point, Sean needs no introduction. I think it's one of those cases of, if you skate with someone regularly enough, their ability, you become immune to their ability. It becomes the norm, it's expected, it's what they do. And I think that was definitely the case with Sean, having skated with him a few times over the years, been on trips with him, kind of just got used to it, I guess. But then at Grudge Match, I got to see him against peers of very high standard. And not only did he hold his own, he held the room. He was the person that everyone was talking about. He was the one that people were cheering the loudest for. He was doing the tricks I like to see. He always has done the tricks I like to see. And he always does them in a sort of Sean-esque proper way, if that makes sense. I mean, obviously I'd seen his stuff online and in Over, the Idle Minds video and things like that. I knew what he was capable of. But at Grudge Match, it just was there, evident. It was the Grudge Match, it was a versus match. You could, it did what it was supposed to do. It was you versus you, essentially. And it was awesome to see. I spoke to the other guys on the team, and it was a unanimous decision, obviously, to put him on, and he was gracious enough to say yes. But whilst this was going on, I knew that I had another Enigma collab coming. And I knew there would be a game or a riddle or something along those lines, and it would be cool to use Sean as either the resolve or a clue for the announcement video and the drop. I basically think I'm going to announce Sean Colet on the team. So what would be sick is, there's so many levels to this. Sean is a hidden character. I don't know if you remember, like Mortal Kombat had that guy called Noob Saibot, which was Tobias, one of the developers, his name. It was cool having the extra time from putting Sean on to announcing him. It meant that himself and George could come to the studio and we could shoot some pictures, we could do a bit of skating and hang out and use those pictures to create better 3D models and whatnot. Worked out really well in the end. Got some nice messages from people once they'd solved the riddle or found out, and that was great. And yeah, it's been awesome having Sean on. Before we get into the chat with Chris, I just want to clarify a few things on my end, really. I am gassed to be working with Enigma. I didn't think, how you watch some of these things and they're all like, yeah. So we did a deal with Shima, and that was called down this channel. I always sort of saw Chris's work throughout the years, whether it be skating in like DNA magazine or Summer in the City or whatever it was, or going to London and seeing him there. Always a fan. And then when I found his sort of digital side, that really blew me away. He was one of the first people I saw using, it sounds daft to say it now, but animated titles and things like that. And everything was just done in such a considered, preconceived way. There was always something clever. And even now we see with the short clips on his Decipher Instagram, you've got people turning into all sorts of stuff, things blowing up, letters hidden. All of it's so clever and so conceived, and getting the opportunity to work with him on something has been exciting, scary, but also humbling. We use a system called Miro or Miro, however you say it, and you work collaboratively and share ideas on there live. I like to think I'm pretty proficient on a computer, you know. I can do the typing, the emails, the whatnot. I would have inserted maybe a PNG file with a sticky note, and I'd glance up and look at his side, and he would have created 6 tables, 4 reference points, some quotes, some links. And quite frankly, it was astonishing. But also nerve-wracking, thinking, shit, this guy is outrageous. And yeah, I learned a lot from Chris during this process. So this is a cut-down version of a nearly 3-hour chat that Chris and I had. Hope you enjoy.
All good stories start at the beginning.
They do.
So, but you know, I think so. Like, it was Gav Nelson, like, you know, OG skater from Edinburgh. He was like, the main guy, and me and Chad were sort of like up and coming. There was like a collective sort of clothing thing going on, and we're like, we want to do that for Scotland. I guess that's where it originally started. So it was like Gav said, look, there's an opportunity here, you know, like, not just about, like, it wasn't like we had careers in rollerblading per se, you know, like people weren't getting good money, but potentially we could, you know, do some clothing, and then there might be something there. So that's where it came from originally. And then it was also about, we wanted to bring some quality to the market, because a lot of the time, like, the stuff that you'd get is just like literally just screen prints, where, you know, we talked about this before, you just have like a Gildan label or Fruit of the Loom, I think it was back then, like quite literally. You're still paying like full price, and, you know, people are just like doing and like screen printing back then wasn't like great, you know.
It'd wash out in like 3 washes or whatever. And
it was just like whatever the thin, like, it was a hoodie, it was just like the cheap hoodie. So like that, it was about like, oh well, we want to do something, but then also bring that quality to it. So that was like a sort of main sort of founding ethos, so to speak. And I think that's why I was more drawn to Pomulo. So like when we did the sort of relaunch for the anniversary edition, and obviously I was like on Insta uploading all the clips, I'd see all the clips of like Sam and, you know, Nick, and there was just like, I think, like going to the site and just seeing the quality, the sort of the care that was clearly put into the garments, and the imagery there. It was like, this looks quality. But also I think there was a bit of that shared, I don't know if elusive is the right word, but like, you know, exclusivity to it. But I think, you know, definitely sort of, I mean, I just thought there was some good parallels there with, you know, what we did with Enigma. So I think that's, it just felt right, you know. It was just,
I mean, full disclosure, they're not parallels. I stole that from you, essentially. That I was like, right, what did they do? I'm going to do that. Yeah. Around the Liverpool IMYTA kind of time, in my memory, is when it was like, Jesus. And I remember going to the Dolby Hotel in Liverpool to check in, and you guys, all the Scottish, were there almost in a uniform. You all had the Enigma thing on, and I just remember thinking, that is the coolest fucking shit I have ever seen, man. And that was when the Scottish rollerblading was going mental. People were just doing, who you had, Brian Adams was back talking everything, just doing insanity. Ian, do you know what I mean? All that sort of when you were,
like
you were all
here, Ian, Chaz was obviously just on his sort of like exponential curve upwards, you know.
And it was almost, but what I thought was, it was almost a marker of who was cool. Not that cool's a real thing, but if you had an Enigma hoodie on, it meant in my head, say less. I know. You don't need to say anything. I know. Do you know what I mean? And I was always fascinated by how just one piece of clothing, one garment, could elevate someone's status just by wearing that. And I was like, man, that's so clever, because I want one, and I would pay through the nose. Just again, stolen valor, just to have one. And was that always your intention, to make it like that, almost like a status brand?
I think that just, I mean, that was just a byproduct. So, you know, originally, you know, the first batch, I think there was 10 hoodies were made, and it was
wow, it was really that
it was tour, which was a tour around Scotland, kind of loosely based on Braveheart. Like,
Love that.
but yeah, so we had like, it was Mike Amato was working with me at the time, just working on this, getting stuff done. Because basically, I come up with lots of ideas, and I'm very enthusiastic, but I'm like a squirrel. I'll just see like it's hard to keep my attention, so I like normally have someone helping me in the background to do something. And yeah, so he sort of sourced like the good quality hoodies and that sort of stuff. But so that's what to start off with, and then we did. I think there was two runs of 50 from memory. There might have been more, but that from memory, I think that was it. And there was 2 runs of 50 and of that hoodie, and then I was actually I'd like registered as a business, obviously, and I was going to fucking Bulgaria of all places to actually get like custom stuff made. And I was going through all that process, like, taking source garments and like, taking elements that like different cuts and fits, and it just never transpired. And I guess I was trying to rack my brain as what happened. I think it was twofold. One, it happened around about the time I got an injury, which you'd think that probably lent further into it. But then also, it was like I was just inexperienced at business, and then it came to a point where like I'd had to like upfront. I think at that point it was like 20 grand to get all these clothes. Obviously it didn't sort of dawn on me or to do a small order or something, but whatever. Yeah, it was like that. That's what it was. It was like this mental barrier. And then it happened is also when so I got injured, and then I was like, oh shit, maybe I might not be able to skate, and I had like quit my job, and I was like, oh well, I ended up actually going back to my work, and I think it just sort of like fizzled out to be a proper thing. But then I think that almost, like you say, worked in its favor, because it then just became this thing that was exclusive. Well, I don't like the word exclusive. Limited, so it had that aura, or whatever you want to call it. A desire to have it, made it like so it worked in its favor, I suppose.
And did any of those garments ever come to fruition? Did you ever get any?
Yeah, well, no, but loads of samples. Like, and actually, like, there's clips, and I'll try and send it so you can pop it up. But it's like a navy blue zip hoodie that has like the Enigma logo in sort of like 6 parts. That was kind of like one of the main ones. It's a sick hoodie. I really wish we'd launched that one. But yeah, it had like joggies, long sleeves, and at that time it had like all like the almost like, I don't say echo clothes. Like when it was like in to have different types of like print, I suppose. It was all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it just, like I say, it seemed a bit sketchy at the time, and then it just didn't align, which is a shame, But that's just the way it went.
It's just, what about that bag? You did a bag that turned into a jacket, or a jacket that turned into a bag.
Yeah, that was at the IMIT. Yeah, I think we did. Again, don't quote me on this. I think there was 20 of them. I think it was.
Hence why I've never been able to source one.
Yeah,
because I've tried.
I think 20 is the number I remember. It might have been 50.
Right.
Yeah, it was a very, very limited amount. And then we did t-shirts run like in 2004. And that's where we had this is kind of where the designs that we actually came up with, Pomulo, sort of stemmed from a little bit, because that was part of that hardware that I found. And there was, again, I'll send these, but we had there was a stencil one where it's kind of like broken up into
moves. That's right.
Yeah, sort of moves, and there's like a sort of corner. And actually, when I was looking at that, I was like, that's definitely influenced by Second Regime and Be Unique. I was like, I can see both those brands in that 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, they're not bad brands to have been influenced by.
But it's just interesting seeing it. Like at the time, I would have been like, oh yeah, this is original. I was like, actually, no, that's definitely, you can see where that's coming from, Chris.
Why? I think my question, Chris, is why don't we just do things normally? Why don't we just let people buy stuff?
I mean, it would just be too easy. Yeah, I don't know. It's ultimately it's the callback to what used to happen on the Decipher site back in the day with the edits. I think it was like I used to try and capture that essence of like a hidden section. So all the edits that I used to do back in the day were always behind some sort of password, and that was generally leaning into the Enigma and sort of question mark and a bit of mystery there. And I think it just made sense. I think when I first relaunched, or not relaunched, but like did that sort of the anniversary edition of the Enigma hoodies, instantly it was just like, well, there's got to be something behind it, like not just like, oh, here's a hoodie, you can buy it if you want. It just like made sense instantly just to sort of do it as that sort of puzzle reveal, and it was like really, really fun to do. I super enjoyed that, and it was like, I think that one was like such a long play as well, because I think it was like maybe 6 months of just clips getting uploaded with no one having the Scooby of what's going on. They're just like, oh yeah, sick clips, cool, yeah, great to see some old stuff. And then it was just like that drop off. Oh, actually, there might be something more to these. Like, and all the while, like, that's when I was like developing the product as well. Like, I was going back to the sort of drawing board of like, oh right, I need to sort of actually redo the logo and do all the sort of the digitization for that. Redo like what garment we're actually going to use, what are the details on it. So like I was sort of like at the same time uploading all the clips and putting the groundwork for the puzzle. Then I was actually sort of developing the product at the same time, and that's basically how we got in touch. It was just through that. You sort of getting sucked into the.
I was sucked. I've got still pinned in my notes on my phone all my workings out from that one. I've still got all the notes. I remember I was sat in a pub and it came up, and I had actually clocked the stuff in the other videos, and I was like, well, that's not accidental. There's a fucking H in there. Why is there a H in there? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this sort of came about, and I was like, oh wait, it's that stuff, isn't it? Right. Okay. So I sat in the pub, and to be honest, I thought, I'm just going to get this done. I'm not losing. I'm going to win this, and then I'll go home to my family. It'll be a lovely afternoon. No, mate. 3 pints later, I rang my friend. I was like, I need to come to your house. No, we were doing it separately from separate locations, but at the same time on the phone to each other. And then I was like, I'm coming round. And we just sat there doing every combination. It was so rewarding that every little step you get, you'd be like, wait, that's an actual sentence with me. I think it was like solar eclipse or something, if memory serves. Something like that.
The first one was I hide in plain sight.
I hide in plain sight. Yeah, that was it. I hide in plain sight. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. And it was like, and it made it so fun and so rewarding, almost to the point where I'd completely forgotten about the hoodie. I'd lost sight of that. That was like, I was so determined to not be beaten either. I've never been at a friend's house and both just sat in silence for 5 hours on our own missions, sharing clues and things like that, and being like, mate. And then when I remember, but it was fantastic. I think it adds a bit more of an element to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I thought what was cool about it as well, because some of them were like really blatant letters just to make it sort of like a little tantalize you, draw you in, but some were like really hard,
really hard.
Really hard.
And some of them I remember had no bearing on them. I remember there was a clip of Woody or something, and I messaged you and I was like, "What's this? I can't work this out."
That's right. Yeah. And there just happened to be a letter in the clip. Yeah, that's right.
And you just said, "Oh no, that's for something else." I was like, "Brilliant!" I spent 3 hours obsessed.
That one. Yeah. So I think something else. Yeah.
There is another clip where there's a letter on the building. Did you throw that in to like mess with people?
No, that was completely accidental.
No.
Like I say, it was like I'd love to say it was some sort of genius master plan, but it was very much evolving as I did it, and that like I sort of did that happened out of the fact that if I don't just start something, it just won't happen. So it was just like, right, I just got to start doing this, just start putting letters in, and then even down to like in hindsight, like using the font that actually had the I. That was like a capital letter looked like an L. I was like, oh, actually, in hindsight, that does make it difficult for people. That does.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that exactly that now. But I think the problem with doing these things is it's so easy to see how solvable it is once you've written it.
Yes.
And you're like, well, it's obvious. Like, why don't you understand this? But you've been obsessing over it for 6 months into everything, and. You can't understand why people haven't got the first little nod. I was pleased. Last week, someone mentioned that they worked it out, the latest POM one, because the song before had the Konami Codes author as the song title.
Right, yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, you've played the game. Like, you understand. And they said about yours, they're like, we saw the Konami Code, this Konami logo in the Decipher account and everything, and I was like, "Oh, you legit
actually looked, for the little clues."
You're the guy, and it's funny to hear the people that said as soon as the SNES controller came up, they were just like, "Well, up, down, left, right," and just did it. I was like, "Yeah, that was great," but I know you thought that one was too easy, didn't you?
I did a bit, yeah. I mean, well, but we sort of gave it. I mean, there was another clip where we actually had the lines. I think the clip I did with James actually had it.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
but I think, you know, it was that balance of, you know, we didn't want it to, well, yeah, it's sort of like peaks and troughs, isn't it? We did, like, when I first did the Enigma stuff, the first one was obviously the like really, really difficult one. Even to the point where, like, because even after you got the first passcode, it then took you to that was my
Mate, there was a
the
whole
ultimate kick in the teeth.
whole
Whole new page, and there was just 5 other passcodes, and I just remember people messaging me with like, "You sadist, you absolutely," because they'd be like relieved because they get this edit, they watch the edit, and then they get the reveal of like. What was it? Imagine Made turns into Enigma Media, and it's a new web address, and they type it in, and then it's just like password. And they're like...
I remember doing exactly that, getting through it and being like, "Oh, done it! We've done it, mate. Mate, there is another website with 5 more." But I'm like 5 hours in now, and I'm like, well, if that's what this guy's telling me to do, I suppose I'm just going to do it. Put the kettle on, right? Let's let's do it. So in comparison to that, I think it's very easy.
But yeah, because then like after that, I did the mind game one, which was like a play on Enigma Made, and that was that was like easy again. So I think we were sort of going back to that because we sort of like on the going back to our first one, you know, the first collab we did, we sort of essentially replicated what we did with then it was like the same idea, like we hid letters in clips, and then the clever thing was just putting it on that different account that no one knew, so that was kind of fun, like this random AI generated mid journey.
Mr. Miguel Pomona.
And like one of my favorite things about that was when we were like, because there was different names we could make. I think like there was Emmanuel Pomo, like there was Emmanuel someone, and then one was like, was it Miguel Pogo? Like there was basically
that was it.
And it was like this one, like one was like, oh, to be blessed and loved, and one the other one was like a passion and all that. And then it's like, and this just means a pogo stick. But then I got like super excited. Then I was like, oh man, maybe. And I remember this is like you totally like could put me in check. So I was like, let's just do let's get hardcore pogo stick clips and hide letters and pogo, like aggressive pogo stick. And you're like, man, I think that's too far, man. That's a stretch too far.
I was reading that.
Make this like advanced, like, you know,
I was reading it and I was thinking, I mean, no. I nearly typed back being like, this is so good. I love this. And then I was like,
not the pogo stick.
This is a step too far.
Like a fake pogo stick brand and everything. Like all
that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to have all the pogo sticks and real things, and I was like, I don't know. This sounds like a lot of R&D cost in this. This sounds we've gone from a niche sport to an even nicher sport that we're now trying to fake. I think we've reached our limits on that. But it's good to have. I think people would now be disappointed if we did just have it for sale. I think, I don't think people want that. It's horrible to hear the messages of people. It's like catch-22 of selling out, isn't it? It's great, but you will always get messages from certain people afterwards who you would love that have been in the game forever, and they're like, "Oh mate, I've just seen this," and you're like, "Oh,
it's gone."
On clothes and stuff. Obviously, we've done a lot of collaborations now. You've not done any solo sort of Enigma stuff.
So it's been a while, hasn't it? 5 years now. 5 years. I think. So actually, before I'd come down to the grudge match, I recently refound a bunch of logos from like the hard drives. And I was planning, I was like, oh, I actually should do something again. But then obviously when we sort of hooked up a grudge match, it made sense to then the next thing to be a collab. But there's definitely more on the cards for sure. And actually, I might actually share some stuff with you over this, and we can include it or not. But it would be actually good to get some of your some feedback on the different designs.
100%.
But yeah, I think I'm very keen. And actually, there's stuff like literally there's samples being made right now for some different gear. So there's a lot. There's a lot out that's in the works. What comes first, I'm not too sure, but there's a couple different types of garments, and then like I say, I've got all these old designs that I've then like just sort of like modernized a little bit, sort of brought into like this the new sort of brand aesthetic. Yeah, so I will. Yeah, I'll share on this, and we can decide whether or not I want to reveal that.
We'll reveal it or not. Yeah, no, exactly. And have you got a time frame for that, or are you just sort of taking your time with it and seeing?
Well, loosely, as in sometime before Christmas is the timeline. I'd say definitely
that seems
one.
To be a very...
Yeah, so realistic for me. I'd say there'd probably be 2 releases before Christmas. There'll be one in December, and there'll be one sort of like within the next 2 months, I reckon.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. So it's like
I'm gonna
which is great. Yeah.
I'm gonna book days off work as long as it's not around GTA 6 time. Just avoid that, and then you'll have participants.
Well, maybe there's stuff hidden in GTA 6. That's what you got to ask yourself. Maybe that's part of it.
If anyone else had told me that, I would have just laughed. But because it's you, and I know you, I'm not laughing. I'm now essentially you've ruined GTA 6 for me.
Yeah, you're going to be going down every street looking for letters.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, you're going to be an NPC walking past. It's just going to say one word, and that's going to be, the holy grail that you find GTA 6 in. Somehow, because I can't really remember how the game characters came about. I remember.
It was a bit of both that. So it was like. I'd seen the designs again, like with the Ryu, so that was like fresh in my mind. Also at work, like I do a lot of sort of generative AI stuff. We've just been testing things, so I'd done something at work again because thinking about Street Fighter and did like Street Fighter characters at work. And then you'd mentioned about Sean being part of the team, and it just sort of like was like new team member, new character, and it just so there was this sort of loop. It was like, oh yeah, we could do something there. And actually, I'll need to send you because there's a bunch of other characters that we made but was never released in any of the teasers. So, like you say, you got like Hench, Tom Moise, and like.
I have, funnily enough, I have that picture on my WhatsApp from our chat, obviously, and I was with Tom Moise yesterday and showed him that, and he just sort of looked at me, and then looked away, looked at me, looked away, and didn't really say anything. And then 30 seconds later, said, "Are you going to do anything with it?" And was almost disappointed that he hadn't made like a. I was like, well, if, and then I showed him the media of the other characters. I was like, you didn't just get left out. These people did.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's a shame. Yeah, I mean, because the original idea was going to be the whole sort of character select screen, and you'd like it was going through like Aaron Fienberg. It was Aaron, Dustin. Basically all the greats. And then
exactly.
It's going to be like a sort of mystery one. But maybe we can do like version 2. Maybe there is a secret character, an extra secret character you can unlock. Who knows? Maybe you've got to go to the website again. Yeah.
I'm always amazed no one's done the other code yet. That's surprised me.
That is
still
it's
waiting.
Right there. It's right there.
If not, I might finally get one of my own products. The offer may expire.
Well, just while we're chatting about it, talking about things that we thought were really cool at the time, and then like when we got the actual sample, like I'm looking at it in your backdrop right now, and that was the original one that we did.
The blue one, this one.
And now it's not looking as bad. Now that I'm seeing it, actually.
But because you can't see it up close, I think.
Yeah. I thought that's what it was. Because I remember when we did the designs, and we like mocked it up in Photoshop. I like the back. I still like that. I think that.
I like that bit.
Yeah.
I got this out of we have like a storage unit for clothes, and I got this out of there, and I really like that back bit. I'd forgotten about that. I thought that was really awesome. Really nice. Good. I think the principle's fine.
The front, exactly. The print, like as digital, it looked. I thought it looked nice. I was like, we'd nailed it because we were. That was one of the challenges that we actually had. Was like, Enigma was known for having a really big, bold graphic on the front, and Pom at that time was basically it's a big graphic on the back, and we were like, that's where that sort of yin yang came from. We were like, well, if we were doing just a Pom hoodie, what would that actually be? If we were doing just another Enigma hoodie, what would that be? And then we're like playing with having like the Pom stuff and outlines and the Enigma logos, fills, and all that, and all the different permutations of like the triangle, the big O logo, and like all that stuff. And then it just when we finally came across that one, it was like, oh cool, that's like an Enigma hoodie, but it's got that Pom. Yeah, it was like boom, we've nailed it, like high five it. And we had like, we'll do this tissue paper, we'll do these boxes, this color label, done, samples done. As soon as that comes back, we're good to go. And then I just remember being like the saddest opening that box and being like, this looks like it's like a primary school hoodie. It was just
yeah.
because the letters were too fine and it just didn't work. It was just such a shame. Like, yeah, just up close, the detail, that's the important thing. And I was like, damn, back to the drawing board.
Yeah. I remember when you got it, you sent me a video of it, of like, not the unboxing, but like, that sort of thing. And you were like, I don't like it. And I hadn't even thought of that as an option. I hadn't even thought that, because it looked so good digitally. I was like, right, he's going to get that sample. He's going to go through it. It's going to be awesome. He's going to love it. Maybe I thought that we changed the hoodie, the actual blank.
Yes.
That might have been an option. But never did I consider that you'd be like, no, the design sucks, man. And I was like, no, it can't. And then even in the pictures you sent me, I was like, mate, it looks fine.
Yeah.
Like it, and then it arrived, and as soon as I did it, and I was like, oh yeah, it does look like a sports day top. It looks like, not even a winner's sports day top. It looks like a competitor's top.
It's bad, and it's like the color as well. It's like a melange, and it just digitally we're like we've got it. It's the perfect. So remember we have that matrix where it's like here's all the colors you can get. Here's and then we're like there's this middle one where this is Palm and Enigma. It's kind of desaturated but kind of purple hues. Yeah, and we're going for different teal
brands perfectly.
We're like you had all matrix like boom, perfect hoodie, boom, perfect logo, and then it was just like no one know, and we're like
somehow. And it's interesting, isn't it, that even though the way we did it by quite mathematically and graphically and put a line with all the colors and is this going to sit here? It just goes to show you that just because it aligns in the perfect squares and ticks those 3 boxes doesn't mean that it's going to be good.
No,
sometimes you have to step back and be like, yeah, but on paper it's phenomenal, but in real life it's shit. This is not good. This is not. But sometimes I think as well, you do that in order to strip it back.
Well,
get it to where.
Yeah, I mean, like all that work. There's other grids about the logo exploration, and then that's when we revisited that. We did it in Miro. And then it was like there was that sort of let's play with that sort of filling the logos, and that's where we came up with the contours. And then we already had that option with the big palm text at the back and a bold Enigma logo. And then it's like then it's like like with second eyes we're like that sort of saturated look it works well. And I remember for me it was just when we got those. I don't know what you call them, but like on the contour lines, and it had like just the Enigma coming through on the palm. That was like a sort of last minute thing. We're like, oh, that's it.
Yeah, that's it now. Yeah, that was the final marination to the dish, wasn't it? That was. Yeah. Am I right in thinking, or am I making this up over time, that the contours are like our fingerprints, or like mounting our coordinates, or something? Aren't they? Have I made this up?
Well, yeah, it depends what. So. That was the idea. There was 2 ideas. We were going to do. It was going to be our fingerprints, and it'd be like mine on the Enigma one, yours on the Palm one. That was
right.
That was one. But then we were also playing with like the highest peaks. So we were going to have Ben Nevis and then Scarfield Pike and use those contours.
Yeah.
The problem with that is the contours just didn't look good. In fairness, and I think potentially if we'd done the thumbprint, we probably could have got something. But then we'd sort of like tested out the theory with these contours, and it just and then it worked. You know what I mean? It was like I remember playing with it, and I was like, oh, but it never looks as good as that first one that we did. So we never actually went down the route, which is a bit of a sad because I like things to have deeper meanings. It would have been great if we had managed to get that in there. So, but the thought was there. Yeah,
because I don't think people realise sometimes the effort that goes into these sort of things. I think they think it's like 2 emails between us.
Yeah,
and it's like, hey,
we spend time, definitely. Like, and then it's that detail into the packaging as well. I mean, that's another thing that we had like a crossover on. Is like, the care in that. It's like, I know we've moved away from tissue paper, but it was like, it'd be wrapped in custom tissue paper, then that'd be stuck down. It's the way it's folded within there. You have the card 100%. In there, then it's like, in a box, then it's sealed, so you have that unboxing, unsealing thing, and then it's wrapped again. You know what I mean? Like careful, like it's a Christmas present, but like sort of premium black paper. Then it's got like a branded sticker, like brand address label on it. I think that was that sort of that level of care that I really enjoy doing, because it's that from the moment it arrives to the door, that's the experience of your product. It's important.
Couldn't agree more. That I've always said that the experience is 30% of the garment at least. If it arrives and it looks like, you know, you get a t-shirt stuffed into a bag, not folded, and it's just in literally a mailer.
Yeah.
Okay, you get your t-shirt, yeah, and you might be happy with a t-shirt, but you're not getting experience. You're not, you know, it should be like, oh, whoa, there's a sticker, like you say, branded sticker. What is this postcard? What's that about? And it's not like the amount of time and money I've spent on postcards samples is. It's so tragic how much I know about cardboard.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, even that. Yeah, like doing like the card, the numbered cards. Like, yeah, there was like that was the whole thing as well. Like, I had 50 different designs for that. And interesting enough, that's where is like with that in my head, you're always like trying to make it. Sometimes it's easy to make things more complex, and then you realize that actually it's like simplifying it is where you should really start, and then it's like, what can you take away without getting rid of the essence? And I think that leans into what Enigma was, you know, because it, like, back in the day, it didn't say Enigma on it, you know, it was just the logo. It was like, what is that? It was already mysterious just by that. Because there was a story about, I didn't know if it was really relevant, but I was just talking about how the Enigma logo sort of changed. Because originally, like, you spotted it as well. Like when it was out, you're like, it's different, isn't it? And I was like, because it started off like, I mean, again, whether or not we use it, but I'll just go through it anyways. Like what the basis of it was 3 circles representing me, Chaz, and Gav, and then a circle cuts that off, and that basically makes the Enigma logo. So like those sort of 3 rings, and the middle ring was rollerblading, so to speak, and then we curved off the edges, and that's basically just how I built it in Photoshop. But then, lo and behold, there's a fucking skateboard brand, Destructo, that is basically the Enigma logo with flat fucking edges, and that's why it changed. So like I remember like seeing it, and that because then we ended. I was like, fuck, it's too close. With the rivalry, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
It's like that can't stand. So that's why when it got launched again, it joined. I don't know if you remember that, but it basically was I do remember. When I joined it, I changed the proportions to start using like the divine ratio. So it was just like one circle, the divine ratio is the smaller one, and then it's again the divine ratio that makes the curve at the top. So it kind of like had that to it. But then when I revisited it, I was like, I don't know, like, you know, because we wanted to do the OG one. It's like, when to join,
but I don't want to go back. Yes.
Well, the outline, because the first thing I did, I was like, I found that logo, I was like, great, and then I put an outline on it, and I was like, it doesn't have the same aesthetic with an outline. When it's just a triangle and it doesn't cut off, it just doesn't. It didn't look like the OG Enigma.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not it. And then so like I redid it as the original, but I was like, but then we're back to it's just too close to the Destructo.
Yeah.
But then that's when it had the brainwave, whatever you want to call it, but just like carving off, so it had that sort of motion to it now. So now it just carves. Yeah, which I hadn't like even thought for, but I'm like super happy with it. Anyway, I was like, oh, it actually gives it something else because it gives it a bit of direction and motion, and because it's less
static. It's more considered. It's more.
Yeah. So I was like, I remember when I was like, oh, it's still like conforming to the divine ratio, but also then it still retains that look and feel from the original. But then that's what led into, because then I was looking at then abstracting that shape and then filling it, like really, like, you know, is it that too abstract? Because I remember when I sent you the first design, you're like, is that Enigma? You know, it's kind of like question mark.
I remember. You
were just like thinking, I get it, I can see where the shape's coming from, but it's not the Enigma logo. But it's like that where that journey came from. I was like, oh, you know, can I play with that a little bit? But then, you know, there's that quote, I can't remember, I'll misquote it, but it's like, something's not finished until there's nothing left that you can take away.
And that just about wraps up this video. If you've made it this far, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and all that other stuff. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Eyes peeled.